Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Chem 170 with your host, me, Dr. White. Hi, everybody. Quick thing, why did I do that countdown? Well, later on when I edit this video and cut out some of I know when to start the video. And that's just like in Hollywood, they have the countdown and everything. All right, welcome to Chem 170. This is organic chemistry. My name is Dr. White. I'm an organic chemist. A little background about myself. For many decades, yes, decades, I was a senior research and development manager in the chemical industry. I worked for a couple of large international chemical companies as a senior R&D manager, research and development. About 2001, unfortunately, the chemical industry left Chicagoland and a lot of the United States too at my level. And so I started teaching and I consult. And I started teaching at ECC in September of 2001. It's a long time ago already. And I've been teaching here. I also teach at College of DuPage. In 2010, I won Outstanding Faculty of the Year at College of DuPage for teaching the equivalent of Chem 170, what they call Chem 1212. Same as 170, I know, I taught both, except the labs are different over there than here. But other than that, same course. So before I go any further, I'm going to be doing an experiment tonight. And what I'm going to do right now, you don't have to write this down, but I'm going to draw the structure of propane. CH3, CH2, CH3. And this is propane. Again, here's the structure. And we rarely use empirical formulas like 3 carbons, C3H8. That's not helpful. We use what we call the structural formula. And CH3, CH2, CH3, that's propane. That's the stuff you get in the white tanks for your barbecue, if you own a barbecue. But you don't have to write that down. By the way, trust me, I'm a chemist. Does that work? How about trust me, I'm a doctor? Oh, I should warn you, I have a sense of humor and I use it. And sometimes we have good humor days, and sometimes you all have to suffer along like I do with my humor. So be forewarned. Now, a couple of things right off the bat. If you look at my ears, you can see I don't have my hearing aids in. Yeah, I wear hearing aids for a number of years now. Why? Because right above my monitor on the shelf, I have 2 large amplified speakers, which I can crank up the volume so I don't need my hearing aids. But if you were face to face, you'd see it. And I tell you about my hearing. And why I'm telling you that now is if you ever are in a Zoom meeting with me and you talk softly, you talk with an accent, you talk softly with an accent, I might have trouble understanding you. So be patient if I ask you to repeat something. Now, probably one of the most important things I will teach you tonight or talk about tonight is the following, and listen carefully. In my class, in my world, there's no such thing as a dumb question. I'll say it again. In my class, Chem 170 this summer, or any class I have ever taught and will teach, and in my world, there's no such thing as a dumb question. I didn't learn that for myself personally until my 3rd year of grad school. By the way, I got my bachelor's at IIT, Illinois Institute of Technology, my PhD in organic chemistry, synthetic organic chemistry. By the word synthesis or synthetic, this is a fancy word meaning to make. My specialty is make molecules that people use. You might have used one of mine, such as a fabric softener. But anyways, that's a story later in the semester you'll hear about. But I learned in grad school from a postdoctoral fellow in our research group never be afraid to ask questions. And I tell the story in the video, but anyways, Dr. Palavin taught me that lesson, and I morphed it into there's no such thing as a dumb question. So always feel free to ask questions. If you need help in any way, always feel free to reach out to me. During the semester, you're going to be watching videos of mine that I made when we had live synchronous classes, and you'll learn about me. And one of the things you'll learn about me, and I'll tell you right up front, is certain ways I'm a very selfish person. What? Well, the way I'm selfish is very selfish about this. I like things to happen around me that make me happy. That way I'm very selfish. And one of the things that make me very happy, is good for my heart, is seeing students succeed. I get much better, much more pleasure, and makes me feel much better to see someone get a good grade in my class and succeed and someone not get a good grade. And historically, when I teach Chem 170, and I've been doing it, I think I started teaching Chem 170 in fall of 07 here at ECC. I'll get the school names mixed once in a while. So I've been doing it a long time historically, and I'll bet this happens this semester too. If you follow my advice, which I'll go over tonight, usually about 65, 70% of my class get A's, earn A's. Wow, that's pretty good. Yes, it is. And the rest of them get B's and C's. But if you think about talking to other people at other schools, they're organic. You don't see that kind of results. And I've had over the years a number of students who have taken organic elsewhere and failed it once or twice, or one student 3 times, then took it with me and got an A because they worked and followed what I'll be teaching you tonight, how to get an A in my class. All right, before I go any further, again, don't write this down. Again, propane is CH3, CH2, CH3, propane. And that's the stuff you use for your barbecue. I think tonight I'll be going for the Guinness Book of World Record, saying propane the most times and drawing the structure in an evening lecture. I wonder if they have a record for that. I'll beat it tonight. And later on tonight, I'll explain why I'm doing this. All right, now in this class, you'll be using the computerized system at Elgin Community College, and from now on, I'll just call it ECC, called Desire to Learn. Desire to Learn goes by the acronym D2L. So if you hear me say D2L, that's Desire to Learn. And if you go, and in the syllabus, I have how to get there. If you go to D2L, let me try something. Let's do an experiment. I went to Google, I put ECC D2L, and immediately this comes in and asks me, am I a robot? That happens a lot lately. I don't know why they think I might be a robot. And there you can go to distance learning, and if you scroll down, you'll see login for D2L. So it's easy to get to. If you have any problems, email me and I can help you out, or try the help desk at ECC. Now, once you log in, you'll see the home page, and let me go and view it as a student, which you are. You'll see this. By the way, this picture is something called a condenser, and you'll learn about that later on. Now, on the main page, you'll see announcements. And over here, in case you forget, is how to log into my office hours, which are on Zoom Monday and Wednesday nights from 6:30 to 7:30. Today, I'm not having an office hour. It's first day of class, but I'll stay after. Technically, in the summer, we're not even required to have office hours, but I do. And here you'll see the different announcements, and I'll talk about the textbook option a little while. And you should have gotten seen this. Every announcement I also send out as an email. And one thing I want to tell you, please check your email daily, your student email. Keeping up to date. I put out emails to remind you of things, what's going on, information about upcoming tests, and other things. So check your emails, ECC student email, frequently. Now, when we look over here, you can see at the top there's content. I don't use discussions. I do use assignments. You'll see your grades, class list, and the other stuff you can look at on your own. But let's look at contents. I'm going to click on that. And on the left, you see these different things here. And at the very top under table of contents, you see the Chem 170 syllabus. And if you click on that, you'll see here, what I do is I load two different types of files. I have a MS Word document, and if you don't have a way to read that, I also have it as a PDF file. And the PDF file allows you, if you want to, you can open up on a tablet, you can open up on your cell phone, whatever. And we'll go through this. I also have the login again for our Zoom. Now, this is very important, the lectures. When you watch my lecture video, the videos of my lectures for this class, I'll have slides on the screen you'll see, just like if we were face-to-face in a classroom. And I have copies of all those slides in this lecture folder. I also have other important files, and we'll talk about the alkane names and also key alkyl groups a little tonight, and it's in the videos. Now, one thing, D2L is an ancient software. And if we go all the way at the bottom, does everybody see the button my cursor's over where it says load more? Can you see it? Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Thank you. All right. Now, if you see the very bottom of the screen, you see chapter 11 and 13, amines, amides, heterocyclic compounds. If I click load more, lo and behold, they have more files. That shows you how old the software development structure is. And here are more things. Now, what I also have are reviews for tests 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'll talk more about it during the semester. They're both as a Word document and a PDF file. I will say quickly, and I'll say it again later, before each test, which are always going to be on Thursdays, the tests, the Tuesday or Monday before of that week, I will do a live Zoom meeting review, and I'll record it and post it in my YouTube channel. Do you know I'm a YouTube star? Nah, not really. But anyways, remember to get to this bottom stuff, you have to click on the button, load more. Now, something also here that's also in the syllabus is the YouTube videos schedule. And I'll talk more about that when we go through the syllabus. Next, something very important is the practice problems. And for each area, I have practice problems. And I also have the practice problem set answers. Now, I call these practice problems, can you keep a secret? After test one, you'll know why I call them practice problems. Remember, after test one, you'll know why I call them practice problems. Remember, that's a secret. And here I have my YouTube channel, the actual YouTube. And we were required when we went online to set up what's called these modules, and they may help you. I really don't use them during my lectures or this course, but essentially it tells you what you should be learning and what you should be doing. All right, now, the other important area, this was in the content area, is assignments. And if we click on that, you'll see assignments. And there are some stuff there, something called the signature sheet and the first lab that's due on the 9th of June. And each lab, if I click on this, I have a video you should watch. And then from that, you can fill out the lab report. Because we're online and it's dangerous to do organic chemistry labs at home, you're not going to do any chemical, I'm sorry, but no manipulating chemicals. But these are the same labs we would use if we were face to face. I'm just giving you the data. You have to do the same thought process to fill out the lab reports. Now, the lab reports are not hard to do. And I look at labs as a way to make organic chemistry fun and teach you some things. And what you'll do is fill this out and then upload it to here, where you say after uploading it, where it says add a file, you can add it to upload and then submit. And what I like to ask you to do is upload your files as a PDF file. Now, what if you don't have a scanner? Oh, well, here's what you can do. Years ago, another instructor, one of his students told him about a really nice app called Cam Scammer. And you can use it on both Apple and Android phones. There's one for each one. Let me go to full screen. For Cam Scammer, don't spend any money. Use the free app. You don't have to buy any of the bells or whistles. It doesn't help you anymore. So it's free. And that way, if you don't have a scanner, like I have a printer scanner right here, I'm coming to you from my secret office in my home in Schaumburg. Oh, I gave it away. But you can see some of my flashlight collection, some of my external hard drives. Yes, I'm a power computer user, have been for many decades. But anyways, you can use your cell phone. I think everybody has access to a cell phone these days. I would bet on it, and I only bet when I know I'm going to win. And you can just take pictures, and the app converts it into a PDF file that you can upload. Now, when we do a test, you'll download it from the assignment area, and you'll upload your answers same way. I go on the honor system, but Dr. White has 10 US patents and a number of foreign patents. So that means I know how to use this pretty good, and he can be very clever. And I put things in my tests that I can tell if a student's cheated. And unfortunately, they work. So what I do is let you download the test on Thursdays, like test one. And then you'll have until Friday, 8 p.m. to upload the test. Now, how long do you have to take it? As long as you want, as long as you upload it on time. I have found if a student doesn't know the material, if you give them 5 hours or 10 hours, they're still not going to get it right. Hopefully that will never be you. So this is the assignment area. And I have here, and I'll talk about it in a little while. Let me get out of here. The signature sheet when we go through the syllabus. So this is D2L. It's available to you 24/7 as long as you can get access to the internet and log into it, and assuming ECC has power too. I think all the years, I think only once or twice have we lost power at the main campus. And that's like quite rare. That's like too many years already. Oh, I forgot to do something. Again, don't write this down. CH3, CH2, CH3, that's propane. And it's a gas at room temperature, except when it's under pressure. And let me do this. I can do it in red. CH3, CH2, CH3. And it's still propane. By the way, if anybody's colorblind, let me know if I need to help you out. When I was in the chemical industry, twice over all those decades, I had two chemists who were colorblind. And certain things, we helped them out. All right, now, excuse me. Next thing I'd like to cover, which is not that exciting, is the syllabus, but it is important, and I'm not going to go through the whole syllabus. And this you can download from D2L. Here's the syllabus. Here's my name. I'm still Dr. White. And please call me Dr. White, not Professor White. I appreciate that. And here's an office phone number. Here's my email address. Here are the videos from my YouTube channel, but I also have, I'll show you later, actual list of schedule to watch. My office hours, like I said, are Monday, Wednesday, 6:30 to 7:30. Here's the Zoom link for that. You can also call on mobile. I've had students call from their car to call and ask. And I just say, don't run into a tree, please. They were driving while we were talking. So one thing I should mention, my office hours are Monday, Wednesday from 6:30 to 7:30. If you need help, I'm available, and I will set up a private Zoom meeting if you really need help. I've done that many times with students. That's the nice thing about Zoom, that if it were face-to-face before COVID, we didn't have Zoom. If you didn't catch me at the building, Chem building, you weren't going to catch me. And I was only there twice a week, and only before and after class. This way, you've got a big window if you ever need help. Now, if you notice here, it says office phone number. That's actually a voicemail box. And I want to say, I think the last time I checked it was somewhere around 2010 or 12. In other words, I don't even remember the password to get into that for. Don't call me. What you should do is email me at kwhite@elgin.edu. I check my email minimum twice a day, every day of the week, including the weekend. And when I say check it, I'm a morning person. I usually, like today, I did it by 6:15 a.m., I check my email. Actually, I have 4 email accounts, one here, one at COD, my personal one, and my business one. And I'll check it tonight, say somewhere around 7 to 9. I'll check it again. Sometimes I'll even check it during the day a couple of times. That's the best way to reach me, which is what I say here. Now, some of the stuff in the syllabus I am required, meaning all faculty at ECC, to put in, and you don't have to read it, like the active course file, unless you want to. I'm not going to stop you. But it has course objectives and all that. All right. You're going to be watching this semester YouTube videos that I made. And I'll show you that in a little while. It's in your best interest, so you do well to watch those videos. Also, summer is twice as fast as fall and spring semesters. Don't fall behind. It's hard enough. Then I tell students don't fall behind in the fall and spring. Summer, it's even more important. Keep up watching the videos, and later on I'll talk about keep up doing and turning into labs. That will help you get a good grade in this class. And while I'm here, let's do it again. Remember, I'm going for the Guinness Book of World Records. Now, if we were in a classroom, this would still be, let's go back to red ink. CH3, CH2, CH3, and that's propane. And that's the gas in the white cylinders that you can use for a barbecue, or if you work on a construction site, they use that for heaters also. There's a thing about academic integrity and behavior. If you were in my classroom, I should take this out because we're on the, you're watching videos, but please don't cheat. I will do what I have in here. If a student cheats, I'll talk about that later. Here's emergency closing information. That shouldn't prepare for class. Now, something very important. Do not raise your hand now, but if you are a special needs student, see me in private or reach out to me, and I will do everything I can to support your special need. I've done that from the first day I've been teaching, and I always will. And over the years, I've had a number of special needs students. Now, normally, if we were face-to-face, special needs students, the main one is extra time taking the test. However, the way I'm doing it, you'll have from 8 a.m. Thursday till 8 p.m. Friday to take the test and upload your answers. And normally, if we were face-to-face, you'd get 55 minutes, so you should have plenty of time. But like I said, if you need any help, any student, but especially special needs students, reach out to me. I will always help a student who needs help, always. No questions asked, that will always happen. There's some more things you can read at your leisure. All faculty are required to put in certain resources if you need them. Now, guess what? Years ago, a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Dr. White was an undergrad just like you. And one of the most important things is, how do I get a good grade in this class? That was important to me when I was a student. First of all, there'll be 4 tests this semester, and these are the dates. What I will be doing is emailing you the password to open up a password protected PDF file that you will download from the assignment area. You'll put your answers in and upload it. Now, one thing I should mention, what if you don't have a printer like Dr. White has one over there? That's an HP printer. I've had that a couple of years. Good one too. Not that expensive. What if you don't? Well, if you don't have a printer, first of all, on your screen, you can see the test. And on a blank piece of paper, write down question 1, number, and the answer. You do not have to write the questions. Just write the answers on a blank piece of paper. Do it in order. Don't have them where I got to guess where things are because I can guess wrong. I've had a couple of students do that. They'll do 1, 5. So come on, give me a break. Put it in order properly. But anyways, that way you can just upload it by taking a picture. We're using Cam Scammer. Or if you have a scanner, you can use that too. So, and there'll be a 2-hour comprehensive exam on Thursday, the 24th, and you'll have until Friday to upload your answers. And like I said, historically, I expect if you follow my instructions, 65, 70% should earn. And the important thing is earn an A. But before I go on, guess what time it is? Yep, it's time to write down propane. I don't know, you're probably thinking now, this is getting pretty obnoxious. But there's a reason I'm doing this. Propane, CH3, CH2, CH3, propane. All right, make a policy if there's some kind of emergency, and you can detail it. I'll allow students to make up. All right, now, how do you get a good grade in this class? You're going to have 4 hourly exams. I take the 3 highest. Each one is 100 points, so that's 300 points maximum. The final is worth 200 points. Relax, take a deep breath, let it out, relax. Students do good on my final. Always amazed. Actually, by now I'm not, I expect it. But if you follow my advice, usually the average on my final is about 90% correct. That's the average for the whole class. All right, next, and I'll talk more about it in a little while, there'll be lab reports. Each one's 11 points. There'll be 14. I dropped the lowest one, so it's 13. That's 132 points. Added up, 632. What I do, let me make this larger so you can see it. I calculate a percentage, and that's the sum of the 3 highest test scores, your final exam points, your lab points, and then I'll have 1 extra credit project multiplied by 100, divide by 632. If you get 90% or higher, you get an A. 80 to 89, B, 70 to 79, C, D is 60 to 69, less than 60, F. Hopefully nobody's down in that range. Remember, it makes me feel good to see students get A's and B's. Don't you want to make Dr. White happy? Please. But anyways, here's the withdrawal policy. I will tell you, rarely do students drop my class. The only times it's happened, unfortunately, during COVID, I had a couple students get very sick. They dropped then. Before COVID, generally twice it happened where students were pregnant, and they were in their 8th or 9th month by the 2/3 part or a little later of the semester, and they had to drop. And I understood. 1 or 2 times students have moved out of the area because the job offer took them out. But rarely do I have students drop because my students do good. Same thing about incomplete. If there's some sort of a situation I do incompletes if you have it documented. All right, now, here we have, and this is in the syllabus on page 15, this semester's week of what you should be studying. Now, I have chapters in the book, but I've made the book optional. A number of years ago, I still have them. When I taught face-to-face, I had extra copies of the book that I got from the publisher, and students who were having problems, financial difficulties, I would lend out the book. And it happened many times. I'd lend out the book and I'd make students sign something so I'd get it back. And within 2 weeks, I'd get the book back. And they'd say, we don't need the book with your practice problems, your lectures. I was reading the book and said, I already learned this stuff. I don't need the book. So that's why I've made it optional. And here we have the different chapters, but it's really talking about the different functional groups. And I'll explain what is a functional group in a little while. And I stick to this. And you'll see July, every Thursday, the 7th, 14th, and 21st, there's a, and also at the end of June, a test. But I've taught this class many times in the summer. As long as you keep up, my students do as good or sometimes even better than my fall and spring classes, which always surprised me because this is quicker. Now, on pages 16 and 17, you'll see the videos you should be watching. By the end of this week, you should have watched videos 1, 2, and 3. And here they are. Here's the ULR. They're all on YouTube, so anytime you want, you can watch them. Let's look at the first one. Who is that handsome guy? Now, one thing I want to show you. If you notice here, the file name is the date. And this is from a couple of years ago when I made this one. And it was in the summer. And it'll say week 1. And then if we look down here, see next to date, there's this couple dots and more. If I click on that, here's all the topics in that video. Every one of my videos has that, where I took the time to put the topics. So if you're looking to see something again, the one thing, I'll be honest, I've been lazy. I should have also copied the topics into that, my syllabus, but it just made it too unwieldy. But, and here you can, all right, let's get started. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Chem 170 with your host, me, Dr. White. Hi. Looks familiar, doesn't it? I've been using that same logon for a while. And these are the videos that you should watch. Think of them as coming to my lecture if we were face to face. And so this week, you should watch these 3 videos. It would be the same as if we were summer face to face, you coming to my lectures. And if you notice, I have the schedule for the whole semester laid out. Now, one thing, the semester I'm taking the videos, well, no, we only had, they messed up on the schedule. Instead of 8 weeks, it was 7 weeks, and they wouldn't let me change it. That was quite challenging. What I'd normally do in 8 weeks in the summer, I had to squeeze into 7 weeks. That was wicked, but students did well. All right, so that's in the syllabus. Now, the other component is lab. And the lab, you don't have to buy a lab manual. And I should talk about the lab. When I inherited Chem 170 and 207, a long time ago, the instructor who taught it was not an organic chemist. And one of the things the school's done, also the 112 labs are the same way. Most other schools, labs are 2 hours and 50 minutes, like COD, the 1212 class. Here at ECC, Chem 170, if we were face to face, the lab is only an hour and 50 minutes. So what that means is I couldn't use the normal lab books that they sell for organic chemistry because most of those labs are over 2 hours. And I only had a window of an hour and 50 minutes. Students had to get the students out in that time frame. So I challenged myself to come up with labs that could be done in an hour and 50 minutes and were fun and challenging. And I did. And you'll be doing those labs. The only difference is you're not actually mixing things. Sorry, but you'll still get the same mental experience and knowledge. So those labs, what you'll be doing is watching a video where I would give the same, what I call introduction. If we were face to face, I explain what you're going to be doing and what does it mean, the significance. And then you'll look at the data and answer some questions and upload those questions as lab reports. Shouldn't take you, after you watch the video, more than a half hour, not even that long, to answer the questions and then upload them as a PDF file. Ooh, I forgot something. Hold on. Yep, you know what time it is. It's propane. Propane. Ooh, let's write it larger. CH3, CH2, CH3. And that's propane. And that's the gas for your barbecues. And you'll learn later on in the videos this week, that's an alkane. All right, let's get back to the syllabus. I think I have 12 out of 13. I think that's what it is. But anyways, each lab is worth 11 points. But you got to hand in the lab report to get those points. And for late lab reports, I take off 2. I have 0 here, but since COVID, some students have had problems, all that. So if it's more than 7 days late, I'll still grade it, but I'll take off some late points. Now, here's the schedule. Today, we're not going to have a lab. You're not, or when I say have a lab, you're not responsible. On Wednesday, you should do lab number 1. Watch the video. You'll have until the next lab period, which is next Monday, to watch that video and upload your answers for that lab. And if we go to D2L, in the assignment area, you'll see melting points. You can download either one of these, and that has the questions you have to answer. And over here, if we click on Melting Point Lab right now, you'll also see here's a video that you should watch, and it starts near the end of the video when the lab is. Some of the other ones I have the exact time. For some reason, this one I didn't. Sorry about that. And you'll see beginning of each week, you'll be able to look at that week's labs. I already have them here, but you can't open them up until next Sunday. And you can do them early if you want. I will not grade them until they're after they're due for the whole class. So if you submit it a week early, I won't grade it until the actual after the due date. And like I said, the labs can be found in the assignment area I just showed you at D2L. Now, one of the things I should tell you, I don't look at labs as a way, can I take points away from students? No, this is supposed to be a fun educational thing. And most students, if they hand it in, should have no problem getting 11 or 10 points out of 11 on the labs. But if you don't hand them in at the end of the semester, you get a 0. They're easy points, but you got to hand in the labs. So I'm reminding you that. And during the semester, I'll remind you, don't forget to hand in the labs. Now, at the very end of the syllabus, I have what I call the student agreement. Now, there's an actual agreement you can download. Don't use this one. And here, essentially, it says you've read the syllabus and understand the policies, and it's your responsibility to abide by these policies, and that you understand that failure to abide by these policies will result in the consequences outlined in the syllabus. Now, if I don't have the signed agreement uploaded as a PDF file to the assignment area of D2L, you won't be able to take test number 1. You get a 0. In other words, you all have to hand this in. Well, you don't have to, but you don't want to get a 0 on test number 1. All right, let's talk about how do you do well in this class. Good point, Dr. White. Thank you. 1, watch the videos. 2, do the practice problems. 3, do the labs and hand them in. And like I said, I expect with this class, like all the others I teach, I expect about 65, 70% of you should earn A's. Earn is the important thing. Now, there's a lot of memorization in this class. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is. How do you memorize things? Flashcards don't work that well. Never worked for me. And a lot of other students I've had, they never worked for them. The way you do memorize things very well is write it down and say it 5 times and maybe do it a second time. If I were to ask you, close your eyes, go ahead, unless you're in a car right now. Can you see the structure of propane? You write it down and you can open them now. And that's because I did it an obnoxious number of times. I wrote it down, you saw it visually, and I said it. And because of that, this is going to be burned into your brain. I've had students in the past come up to me a year or 2 after my class, they've taken it, and I say, do you remember what happened the first day? What I wrote on the board if we were face to face? And within about 1 second, they'll say propane. And I'll ask, what color ink did I use tonight? It was mostly black. Sometimes it'll be blue or red. And they can remember that. And this is how you memorize things. You practice writing this down. Now, let's talk about how to do well. And in order for that, I've got to talk about bicycles. Bicycles? Yeah, let's talk about bicycles. Let's assume you don't know how to ride a bicycle. And being the nice person I am, and I am, I give you the best Blu-ray ever made on how to ride a bicycle. And you have a Blu-ray, access to a Blu-ray player, maybe at home or elsewhere, and a big TV like I have in my family room 75-inch, or maybe you got an 85-inch high def TV. And for the next month, you watch that video, that Blu-ray over and over again. You back it up, do slow motion, frame by frame. So at the end of the month, you know that Blu-ray, How to Ride a Bicycle, by heart. What's going to happen the first time you get on a bicycle if you don't know how to ride? Whoop, you're going to fall off. When you watch my videos, it's the same thing. You'll see me doing things that you have to learn. It's no different than watching the video, how to ride, the Blu-ray, How to Ride a Bicycle. If you don't do the practice problems on your own, what's going to happen on tests? Whoop, you're going to fall off, and it's not going to feel good. And it's not going to make me happy either. So do the practice problems, watch the videos. Now, one other thing I did a number of years ago for Chem 112 class that I've been using for this class too. Over the years, I've seen a number of students who have test anxiety. They do the practice problems. If you talk to them one-on-one, they know that stuff like that. Except they sit down and you put them in a room with a test. And I'm a chemist, not a psychologist, but their brain goes, whoop, if something goes wrong. And I had this one student, if you were to ask her during a test, what's the third planet from the sun on a test, she'd be so nervous she might put down grapefruit or basketball, something around, who knows what. But I came up with a method that helped her and helped others that eliminates test anxiety. Later this week, I'll send out an email and post the announcement, a video, how to learn it. You need help, come and see me, and it works. I've had over the years students who are getting D's and C's or even F's go to be A and B students. So it's quite effective. Looking at my notes for what to do tonight. All right, along with the bicycle thing, one other thing about practice that I like to tell most of you, how many of you remember 1995? Raise your hand. How many of you weren't even born then? Well, a number of you. All right, back then, who was the best NBA player? Michael Jordan. He played for the Chicago Bulls. And if you were around like Dr. White was, every once in a while, you see a report in the sports section of the newspaper or on TV in the news in the sports area. Michael Jordan, the first on the practice field court, the last off. Michael Jordan, when he was with the Bulls, he practiced the longest and the hardest of all the players. But why? He was the best of the best, the very best player in the NBA. But he still practiced the hardest, and that kept him the best. And it's no different in organic chemistry. Do the practice problems. Now, again, let me remind you, there's no such thing as a dumb question in my class. If you have any questions or you need help, always feel free to reach out to me, either by email or we can set up a Zoom meeting if you can't make to my office hour. I will help students out. And with that, I think I'm done. One last thing I want to do, and you'll see in all my videos, is when COVID hit and we went to Zoom, and it was, if you remember, it was pretty dangerous. I thought of something, probably one of the finest humans I ever knew was my grandmother, my mother's mother, Grandma Greenman. And she was one of the finest people in the world. I'm Jewish, and whenever we went over and visited her and we would be leaving, in Yiddish, she'd say to us, "Gehen gesund." Gehen gesund in Yiddish means go in health. And that seemed to be apropos ending my lectures, videos, or online, or when we were live on Zoom to all my students during COVID. And something I continue to do And tonight I'll do it again. I'll tell you gang gesund, go and hell. The other thing I always do, if you watch my videos, which I hope you do, is I'll do this and I'll say goodbye. And I stole that from a famous TV program when I was in high school called the Beverly Hillbillies. And one of the characters who played Granny, when they'd say goodbye at the end of the show, she'd be going like this. And I steal that too. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye, but I'm going to stick around a couple minutes afterward if anybody has questions. And I'll say, gang gesund. That's Yiddish for going hell. I'll say, bye now, bye now. Stole that from Granny and the Beverly Hillbillies. Bye.